Welcome back. Module 6, micro analysis. We saw in investment analysis, macro analysis. Next we will see micro analysis, qualitative. Again our contact details are given, which will be useful for you. Reach out to us for further training programs. Target audience, the same set of target audience. So I will not be repeating here again. Let's go into takeaways. What is the takeaway? Good understanding of microeconomic factors, particularly qualitative factor. Analyze the influence of macro and micro factors on companies. Building of moats. I said right, to understand finance and banking, all you require is simple English meaning and common sense. Please note down the meaning of moats. One who does not know. Moats means nothing but defense. Value and benefits. The value of building a moats. Differentiate between quality business versus the rest. Right? That is the takeaway. Fundamental analysis. What is fundamental analysis? Which you have seen, macro, then micro. So macro we have discussed extensively in module 5. Now we will discuss micro. Within micro, we will be discussing about micro qualitative parameters. So qualitative parameters. Let's go into micro qualitative economic parameters. Slide 5. Qualitative parameters. First is Porter's 5 forces. What are the 5 forces? Let's go to the next slide. As you can see here, the Porter's 5 forces. You see, every business has few things that influences the business. One is, first and foremost, is obviously the customer. Every customer wants what they want. They want the best of the product at lower price. Then there might be suppliers. Certain business will not have suppliers, but most of the business manufacturing will have suppliers. Suppliers want a higher price, whereas company wants the lower price. So hence the threat, the competition. So as you can see in the picture here, the 5 forces acting. The suppliers will put pressure on giving additional money. Okay. Then you have threat of substitutes, competition. So competition plays an important role, as you all seen, like what you call, every industry has competition over a period of time, and if you don't build moats or defenses, new entrants, new entrants will come into the picture. How easy or how difficult it is for a new entrant to come into the business. Then substitutes, that is an important play in the overall scheme of things. So now, Porter 5 forces, bargaining power of buyers. So what is the bargaining power of buyers? Certain industries are there where buyers have very good bargaining powers. So certain industries, buyers don't have bargaining powers. Certain industries are government regulated. So think of an example, like for example, earlier when telecom was there, telecom did not have the pricing power. Now with telecom becoming 2 or 3 players, then there is some amount of pricing power that the industry has got. Hence now you are seeing re-rating in companies like Bharati, and also Jio is also, because of Jio valuation, Reliance is also going up. Whereas earlier it didn't have the pricing power. Same is the case with airline industries. So earlier there was tremendous competition, and industry was pricing left, right, center, lower to cut competition. So many times what happened, to cut competition, companies themselves put themselves in trouble by lowering the prices and not recovering the cost. So there, in such industries, buyers have a very good bargaining power. So certain industries are there, or certain companies, like where the companies have good bargaining power, buyers don't have bargaining power because of either the superiority of the product or the company is able to price. Classic case is Apple. In India, Asian Paints is one company where they are able to price, where the input cost, that is due to inflation, the oil cost and other things, which is an input, that if it increases, the company is able to pass on to the customers. But certain companies might not be able to pass on. So hence the buyer's purchasing power is important. Threat of competition, new entrants. So many industries, if you build a defense, so it is very difficult for new entrants to come. If you think of a big manufacturing, like let's say oil exploration company or oil manufacturing or a big cement plant, it is difficult for a new entrant to come to set up such a huge plant and create such a manufacturing facility. Whereas think of, let us say for example, an education industry. Okay, anybody and everybody can enter that industry. So which is why many entrepreneurs today tech start companies, head start, that is what they call. So the head tech. So head tech kind of companies are many in number, because there is no moats that are available with the existing companies. So the entry barrier is very less. So companies, we have to analyze companies that have that are in an industry where there is a strong entry barrier. That means easily a new entrant cannot come, or even if a new entrant comes, our company has the pricing power. So that is what is threat of new entrants. Threat of substitutes. Typical example, the typical example of substitutes is what you call your salt. That is what in economic they will give. Okay, tea and coffee. Tea and coffee, what happens if the prices of coffee goes up, people will switch over to tea, or vice versa. So that is called substitutes. So in our industries, if our product doesn't, we don't offer that product, are there any substitutes people can go for? So then that means we will lose not only to the competition but also to substitutes. Then power of bargaining power of suppliers, which I mentioned. No, suppliers, how much bargaining power they have. Then competition is very important. So many times people think that competition comes just from within that industry. I always ask this question, what is the competition for an airline industry? People will come and say, no, for let us say, for example, for Indigo, the other airlines are competition. Okay, but I say it is not the case, even much before 2019. Why? Because video conferencing and telepresence, they are technology. Technology is a competition to the airline industry. So particularly Corona has taught us how work can be done remotely. Zoom and other ways, people were able to do their work. Hence, the competition for airline not just comes from the technology side, not comes from the within that industry, or within from road or rail, but comes from other technology also. Hence, no, a business has to be aware of all these competitions, and competition can come in any form. I can give you one example. 2-3 years back, I think, if I am right, this is an example I am giving. I am not giving any recommendations here. One fine morning, the price of PVR came down 3 or 4% down. PVR didn't do anything. The reason was Reliance was planning to enter a big time in OTT. See how the competition comes. So hence, no, competition in today's world can come in any forms and any means. Hence, a company has to be cognizant of all these challenges, threats, not only from within the industry substitutes, but also from technological threats, because the product will become obsolete. They have to be cognizant of it and have to build modes. Hence, if you are doing a fundamental analysis, you have to do a thorough analysis of a company, their business, their future potential, and the competition and threats, using the 5 porters, 5 forces. So now let's go back to the microeconomic factors. Let's look at the other factors. Management decision making skills and track record. See, this is an important aspect, because what happened, a management has to be sound. They have to be very aggressive, dynamic, and should be in a position to take quick decisions. Okay, many a times, no, it requires spontaneous decision making skills. That is why a small entrepreneur can make big decisions. A small company can do big things, whereas a big company takes time to take decisions. So hence, no, how quickly a company can take decision. What is the track record of management? Then next is investment in R&D and technology. See, today if you see, India is a technology hub. We are developing software for the world, but still, no, if you really see, no, have we built world-class technology companies? Why we have to say rely on Apple or FANG companies we call, no, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix and Google? Why we don't have such companies in India? The reason is Indian companies have to be encouraged more to spend on technology. Government also should encourage and give incentives and SOPs for investing in R&D and technology. See, R&D and technology investment, it is a capital investment, because today you invest, the benefits will come down the line, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line, but it will be a long lasting benefits. So company, how well a company invests in R&D, particularly pharma companies, technology companies, they have to keep on constantly innovating, investing in R&D and technology, because the technology will become obsolete. Ethics and value system of the organization. So every organization has a culture, and ethics and value system is very important. We know many MNC companies or MNC companies, reason being they have a very good ethical system. they are employee friendly, they are customer friendly, they are environment friendly, which is what we will see in ESG, okay, environment friendly, employee friendly. So ethics and value system plays an important role. So sometimes what happens, some businesses like alcohol and tobacco might be legal but not ethical. So certain business as a group, they might not want to enter those business. So that reflects their ethical value system that the company is built upon. So one more example I can give, during corona time many employees died. So companies have to give whatever is as per the terms of agreement, but many companies went out of the way and said that we will take care of the employees kids up to their graduation. That's a good gesture. So that reflects the ethical behavior of those companies. So how well they are behaving within the society. Governance. The governance is very important. Here, like what you call, a company announces annual report, annual results or quarterly results. How reliable it is? Are they giving the information in time? Are they transparent and open to both employees, all the stakeholders, employees, customers, and to shareholders? So that is an important. In India, public sector organization is one thing which is known for governance, because they are very transparent, because they are run by government. Many private organizations are there. I don't want to name anyone, but there are very good organizations in India. So MNC companies typically, I have worked in organizations like Bank of America, Barclays, Standard Chartered, all these organizations, they are known for their good corporate governance. Of course, there are here and there a few misses that are there in many organizations, but overall, how well the governance system, mechanism is there. Then next is USP. Unique selling proposition. What is the USP that the company has created? Every individual, every company has an USP. So that USP, if one were to understand what is their USP, they will be able to do better. So every company has to build their unique selling proposition. Like once again I have to go back to the example of Apple. Apple, why? What is the USP of Apple? The product superiority. It's a pride, it reflects the pride. Many people I have spoken. So I was an Apple user once, but now I am no more using Apple. I am using only Android because of the convenience. That's a different story. But people come and say, no, boss, why did you shift from Apple to Android? Because it reflects your status. So, that is how they are positioned on product, or at least people perceive that. So, that is one of the USPs. Then CSR responsibilities, corporate social responsibilities. So, how good, what is the takeaway, what is that they are giving back to the society in general in which they are operating. So, that reflects, again I told about the example of how companies during corona time contributed. So, CSR is another, how voluntary contribution and contribution mandated by the government. So, many organizations will limit only to the mandated contributions in terms of commitment, financial commitment, but more than that, what is the other type of commitments that they are doing. So, many organizations do that. So, all these things reflect how a company and the microeconomic factors, these are the microeconomic factors under which a company has to be assessed, analyzed in detail by every individual. So, if you are able to do that in this qualitative analysis, I am sure you will be able to identify a good business, good company, a company with a good governance, with a USP and having a good social responsibility. Thank you very much.